This video is going to demonstrate how to do the HTML 101 demo in Web Design 1. Okay, so hopefully you've already watched the Setting Up the Dreamweaver video. That's going to help you make your initial folders, which I have here on my desktop, and also make it so that you could have those shown in your Files panel in Dreamweaver. So if you don't have that there, please go back and watch that video first. Okay, so we have our assignments folder and our demos folders. So for each demo and each assignment, you're going to have to make a new root folder. That's pretty much the same idea as like when you were in InDesign, you had to make a new project folder for everything you were doing. So what I'm going to do is right click on demos and go to new folder, and I'm just going to call this HTML101. All right, so this is my root folder for this demo. So I will right click on HTML101, and now there is a series of folders and files that I need to make. So I'm going to right click on this, and I'm going to do new folder, and I'm going to call this IMG, short for images. Go back to HTML101, right click, make a new folder for CSS, and we'll actually talk about that more next week. And then I want to go back to HTML101, I'm going to right click, and I'm going to make a folder called working. Working is where you're going to put all of your files that you need for this website, but don't necessarily go on the website. So if you have an Illustrator document or a Photoshop document, they would go in the working folder, and then the images from those, like that Photoshop file, like if you had a JPEG that you saved out, that would go in the IMG folder. So that's the difference between those. Okay, next we need to make our home page. So I'm going to right click on HTML101 and go to new file, and our home page is always going to be called index. Do not put any other name on it. Do not call it HTML101 index. Do not call it index hyphen your last name. It is always just index.html. Most servers are pretty much programmed to recognize an index.html file and find it and use it as the home page. Think about it. Whenever you go to a website like I don't know, maybe you go to Giant Eagle's website. So maybe you're going to gianteagle.com. You don't type in gianteagle.com/index.html. It just knows to look for this file and to show it whenever you go to that address. Okay, so I'm going to double click on this index.html. Now this code is really small right now. So what I'm going to do is I am going to hit Command plus, or if you're on a PC, it is Control plus, and that is just going to make my code larger. All right, so that makes it easier for you to see. So here it is in code format. Now, if yours looks a little bit different than mine, don't worry. Go up to your menu bar and choose View, and then just go down to Code. Some of you might be in split mode to begin with, and maybe you're in like Code and Design or something like that. Just go to Code, so that way you can just see the index file the way that we have it here. Now, we have this index file, but we also need to be able to see it online, right? So I'm going to minimize Dreamweaver for a minute, and I'm going to go to Web 1 and go to Demos, and look, there's that folder that we made, and I see my index.html. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drag that into Chrome and open it up. So here is my index file. Look how lovely it is. That was a bad joke, by the way. So there's nothing on it, right? I don't have anything on there. We're going to leave this open so that way as we make changes, we can come back to this file and see what it's looking like. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to change the title. This title should never be left as untitled. If this were an assignment, you would make this title something based off of the content of the text. We don't have any text right now, so we're just going to write my first code demo. All right, so I'm going to hit save. So if you're on a Mac, hit Command S. If you're on a PC, hit Control S, and then come into Chrome and then just hit refresh. So that title is actually going to show up in the tab right up here. Right? If you did a Google search for this and it came up in the rankings, this is actually the blue link that you would click on in order to go to this page. All right, so let's go back to Dreamweaver. And let's start. Everything that we want to be seen on our page needs to go between the body tags. So I am going to start by putting in the most important heading. The most important heading, the H1, doesn't always have to go at the beginning. This is just where I happen to be putting it. So I want to do left caret, H1, right caret. And then I'm going to write my first code demo. And then I'm going to close it. So I'm going to do left caret slash H1 right caret. All right, I'm going to save that, Command or Control S, come in and refresh. Hey, look at that. We got something up there. If you didn't have yours displayed correctly, make sure you have opened and closed the tags the right way. All right, so H1 is the element, but this is the opening tag for the H1. All right, this is the closing tag. I know it's the closing tag because of this slash mark right here. Okay, so let's go in and put in a paragraph. So I'm going to do left caret, P, right caret. And then, all right, this is my first coded sentence. Right, and then maybe I'll say, it really wasn't that hard. Hopefully you feel that way. And then I will close the paragraph. Okay, so I'm going to save that, come in, refresh, and there we go. We got another one. Let's go in and put in an additional paragraph. I'm just putting in these extra spaces to make it easier for you guys to see. You don't have to put those in there. All right, so I'm going to do paragraph, and then I'll say this is another sentence. Look at how good I'm doing. Yay. Okay. I think you guys get the idea, right? So refresh. We got another one. Sweet. Okay. Let's throw in a subheading. Let's do an H2, and let's say we'll just call it honestly we'll just call it subheading for now. Eventually, whenever there's content, it will make more sense. So the reason I keep saving and coming in and refreshing as I go along is because now I know that this thing worked. Right? I already know that these things worked. But the next thing that I put in, if it's not working, I know it's not because of this, because I already saw that it worked. So it's just kind of a way to help you solve problems as well. Okay, and then maybe let's do a block quote. Okay, let's do a block quote and say, this is an example of a block quote. Okay, so in this case, the element is a block quote, and it has the opening and closing tags. Right, by default, it is just indented in. And then let's also do a comment. So that is left caret, exclamation point, hyphen, hyphen. This is an HTML comment. You don't have to put the space here and here. That's just something I've always done because to me it makes it a little bit cleaner to see, but that space isn't 100% necessary. Now, the comment is not something that you'll be able to see in the browser. So if I come in and refresh, it won't be there. However, if you right click and you go to view page source, you'll be able to see it there. Okay, and that's actually how I will look at your assignments. I will come in and look at your code this way. So I'll be able to see the comments that you put in, and you definitely want to put comments in there. Okay, so that was just putting in some of the bigger things. What if I want to go in and format maybe some words inside of my sentences? So let's do this. Let's say I want to highlight the word first right here. So I am going to put in the strong tag. Okay, so strong is going to make it bold visually, but if they were on a screen reader, it would enunciate that word a little bit differently. Okay, so let's go in and refresh. There it is. It's a little bit heavier than the others. All right, let's say for coded, maybe I want it to be underlined. So I'm going to do U, left caret, U, right caret, and then I got to close it right here. So, whoops, left caret slash U, right caret, underline. Okay, there we go. All right, let's kind of throw a wrench in here. Let's also make this italicized. So I can put this M tag, I can put it here or I can put it here. It doesn't matter. So I'm gonna do left caret, M, right caret. And I actually want this to go down on its own line so you guys can see it. Nope, don't do that. Okay, so I have the U and then I have the M. I want you guys to think about this for a second. Where should I close the M tag? Am I going to close it here or am I going to close it here? All right, so think about that. The order that I open them doesn't matter, but the order that you close them does matter. You need to remember that we're doing nested tags. So if you open a tag inside of another tag, you have to close it inside of that tag. So I actually have to close M here. Right, that's where I have to close it. That's the correct way to do that. So I'm going to save and refresh, and now it is also italicized, or M is short for emphasize. Okay, so I need to do that. Let's say that I want this sentence to be on its own line. So to do that, I would use the BR tag. So I'm going to do left caret, BR, right caret. Now, this is short for break or line break. It is a self-closing tag. So it is one of the few tags that you actually do not need a separate closing tag for. So I'm going to save that, and then this should jump down onto its own line. I'll refresh, and there we go. Right? If you want additional spaces between your paragraphs, you could do that as well. Like you could come in here and say, oh, I want, maybe I want a couple of line breaks here before this subheading. You could do that. So I could refresh, and now I added a bunch of space there. So that could be something that would help you. So that's pretty much the gist of it. You can kind of just go in and add in these tags as you want. So if I wanted is, and I don't know why you would highlight the word is, I'm just doing this kind of as a refresher. So whoops, I'm going to do, before the word is, I'm going to do left caret strong, and I'm going to close it here, strong, save it, and then refresh, and then there you go. If you ever have it, like if I wanted to do this with the word sentence, some people are like, oh, do I include the period or not? Usually you don't. You wouldn't bold punctuation. If you do it for the assignments, you wouldn't lose points, but it is something eventually that I would be like, okay, you need to stop making your exclamation points bold. Like, we get it, you're excited, but you wouldn't keep doing it that way. All right, so this is how you are going to pretty much go through and start coding your sites and formatting text. So these are just kind of focusing on the formatting elements, nothing too crazy or too far out there. This is pretty much the basics of what your first couple of assignments are going to ask you to do. Just go in and recognize headings, paragraphs, block quotes, and I will tell you where to put them, and then just to put in bold, italic, underline, and strong. Now, I will tell you that if you had kind of messed this up and you had switched it, okay, so Dreamweaver is kind of actually telling you, it made this line red, and it's saying, oh, you got to pair these tags up correctly. So since this is incorrect, I'm going to save it and come in and refresh. The browser isn't always going to show you that, because some browsers are smart and they're saying, oh, you can't actually do it that way, so I'm not going to show it to you that way. But Dreamweaver is saying, you know what, that's actually wrong, and some browsers aren't going to correct it for you. So just wanted to throw that out there, because sometimes it can be wrong, but the browser doesn't always show it to you that way. So just wanted to make you guys aware of that. If you have any questions about anything in this video, please do not hesitate to ask me. This is definitely not a class that I want you to sit there and be confused on. I mean, not that I ever want you to be confused on, but I know some people sit there and they just kind of get frustrated and overwhelmed. Listen, if you have questions, ask. Okay, there's eventually, as we go through, I'm going to ask you guys to kind of problem solve and troubleshoot a little bit more, but especially with these first couple of weeks when you're just getting acclimated to all this, please, please, please do not hesitate to ask me if you're having any problems. All right, and that is pretty much it for the HTML 101 demo.